Good evening, and welcome to the Dave the Mystic Show. This is episode number 489 with personal growth leader, author, and teacher Mabel Katz. This is 9/21/20 from Littleton, Colorado. A few announcements. The Body, Mind, Spirit Fair in Denver has been moved to both in date and location this month. The fair is going to be this Friday, September 25th, through Sunday, September 27th. It will be held at the Crown Plaza Denver Airport Convention Center, 15,500 East 40th Avenue. It is very close to where I-225 joins I-70. It's just right off of Chambers Road. All of the COVID protections will be in place. It will be a safe environment. I'll be a reader there in booth 14 in the Earth Room. They have Earth, Air, Fire, and Water. And full details are at www.bmse, like Body, Mind, Spirit, bmse.net. If you've registered with Blog Talk Radio, you can join in the chat. I have the window open. And please consider signing up for show announcements through my website at www.davethemystic.com. Our guest tonight is Mabel Katz. Born in Argentina, Mabel moved to Los Angeles in 1983, where she became a successful accountant, business consultant, and tax advisor. Despite having the American dream, husband, 2 children, a great home, and a highly prosperous career, Mabel wasn't happy. Discovering Hooponopono allowed her to strip away the should and the worries and trust that there was something more for her. Before long, she left her marriage and her business behind to travel the world, helping others to find their easy way to peace, happiness, and abundance through zero frequency. The result is the extraordinary impact she has had. Deeply embedded in her book, Zero Frequency, the easiest way to peace, happiness, and abundance, is Hooponopono, the ancient Hawaiian art of problem solving, in which Mabel has been an acknowledged leader for the past 15 years, carrying on the mantle of master teacher Dr. Hulen when he retired. And while it is the core, it is only one of many tools that Mabel has incorporated into a simple system that continues to clear the path for perceiving that universal direction and living by it. A path for being at peace no matter what is going on around you. And wouldn't we all like that? Her work has naturally led Mabel from the micro world of inner peace to the macro world of world peace. Mabel was honored as a peace ambassador for her World Peace Initiative. Peace Within is World Peace, which was launched at the United Nations in Vienna. On January 1st, 2015, she was awarded the prestigious Public Peace Prize. She has spoken in front of national senates and other influential government bodies and has presented at the United Nations, as well as addressed multicultural audiences, including those of diverse ethnicities in the Middle East. Mabel has expanded her peace work to teaching children, including special needs children and their parents, as well as men and women currently in prison. Welcome, Mabel. Thank you for being on the show.
Wow, that was a long introduction. Thank you. Thank you very much, David.
Well, you've done so many wonderful things. We had to get it all in. This is great.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
Tell us a little bit more about your background. How did you shift from being an accountant and being in the 9 to 5 world or 9 to midnight world over into this? What was the trigger?
Well, actually, you read it already. I was not happy. You know, I was looking for happiness in the wrong places, thinking houses, cars, the husband, the kids, the titles. I had them all, and I was not happy. So one day, my oldest son talked to me angry, as I used to talk to him, and I woke up. And I made the decision of start looking, you know, changing, doing something. I said, Mabel, you have to do something. So everything started coming, David, actually. It's not like it was really hard. A lot of, you know, friends that saw that I was in my search gave me metaphysical books to read. Suddenly I went to an anger class that was done by a metaphysical teacher, and he invited us to sign up for group courses that he had at home. And then I realized he was talking about the things that, you know, I was reading in the metaphysical books. And then in Los Angeles, there was this amazing psychiatrist, Dr. Wilcock. I will never forget him. He died, unfortunately, many, many years ago. But I remember going to a class of him, and he made us do an exercise where he was guiding us like our bodies were burning, from our toes to, going up. And when we got to our hair, let's say, he said, do you realize you are still there? And that was also like a realization, yes, that we are not this body, that we are not as limited. I went to a yoga class, and the teacher made us do a visualization at the end, and whatever I visualized, I would manifest the same day. And I thought, it could be that we are so powerful, that whatever we can imagine. So that was a revelation, because I was very close-minded. I was not a believer at all. I didn't believe in anything I couldn't see and touch. And also perfectionist, because of my Virgo. And so, this was a completely 180 degrees change, but I felt happy for the first time in my life. Actually, I was in another interview today, and I was sharing that I was working at a CPA office, and because I was getting divorced due to, all my change and everything, and one of the partners, one of my bosses said, Mabel, don't you think this could be midlife crisis? And I look at him and I said, this is midlife crisis. I said, I love it. I am happy for the first time in my life. I love midlife crisis. So that's kind of my story.
So how did you get connected to the Hooponopono?
Well, I started doing a lot of things, like everybody in the search. I was interested in everything. I didn't have enough weekends to go to all the seminars that I was interested. And one of the things that got my attention was rebirthing. So, and I got very, very involved. I don't know if you know, rebirthing is like this conscious breathing technique. And I got so involved with rebirthing. It really helped me a lot. And I actually found Hooponopono through rebirthing. What I noticed in rebirthing, it was, even though that it was very helpful, I noticed that there was a lot of drama. We would go for, 4 days retreats, weeks retreats, whatever. And most of the time it was listening to stories. People telling stories, crying, and finding somebody to blame for their problems. So I thought there has to be an easier and faster way. I didn't buy into having to relieve or to find, again, who to blame to be free. And Hooponopono showed up. We used to do some things during the rebirthing trainings because Sandra Ray, one of the founders of Rebirthing, she had met Mona Simeona, that was Dr. Hulen's teacher. So she used to introduce us a little bit to the Hooponopono work, but still didn't bring, Mabel. But I was in a Rebirthing training in Mount Shasta in Northern California. And the person that organized for Dr. Ihaliakala came as one of the leaders of that training. I was an assistant in that. And we got close together. She started telling us about Hooponopono and everything. She invited us to come to Omaha, Nebraska. And I actually decided to take the invitation. I went to Omaha, Nebraska. Actually, she was inviting me as an assistant for her rebirthing training. And suddenly, I called and I said, I'm going to come to the Hooponopono training. And she said, but you have to pay for that one. The other ones I was coming for free because I was coming to assist, yes? And I said, okay, I'll pay for it. I was planning to pay for it. So that's when I met Dr. Hulen in Omaha, Nebraska, July of 1997.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, where did it go from there? So you met him there. You took the seminar or the class, and then
Yes.
You continued.
Well, what happened is I invited him to come to LA because at that time, my entrepreneurial mind. I remember I come from the business world. Yes. So what happened is whatever helped me, I would start organizing events. I would tell people, well, I know people. How many people do you need? I can organize, So I started organizing events. And when I took actually the training in Omaha, Nebraska, I told Dr. Hulen if he wanted to come to LA, I would organize for him. So since, he started coming to LA, we did other cities here in California with him. I took him to Argentina. And it's a long story. I always did this as a hobby and like a the weekend thing, yes, because I was an accountant and I was doing really well. I wasn't planning to change careers. I wanted to change my personal, but not the professional. I was doing pretty well, to think that wasn't working. So, but anyway, I learned I became a believer. I started trusting, I talk about a lot of letting go and trusting and allow yourself to be guided. And that's what I practice, and that's what I did. And this is what life took me to a completely, different career.
That's wonderful. What a great story. So tell us some more about what Hooponopono looks like at this point in terms of people's practices.
Yes. Well, Hooponopono became famous because of Joe Vitale and his book, Zero Limits. So everybody knows Hooponopono by the 4 phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. But to be honest with you, the thank you and the I love you, Dr. Hulen got them to replace what is really Hooponopono. Hooponopono is about taking 100% responsibility. What is it in me that this is happening? Yeah. So when you take 100% responsibility, you can actually set yourself free. You regain your power. That you are 100% responsible doesn't mean you are guilty. You are responsible for the programs that are playing in your subconscious mind that show up, problems in your life. So one day, Dr. Ihaliakala heard divinity said, just tell them to say thank you. I know what they mean. So we didn't have to really say, okay, I'm taking responsibility. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for whatever is in me. So the thank you, the I love you, and many other tools that we have that came to Dr. Ihaliakala replace. And also I have to tell you, when I learned Hooponopono, we didn't even say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. We used to say, repeat a very long phrase. Still, we had to do this 24 hours, and I can explain. But actually, mentally, we had to repeat 200,100,000 pillar of a piece of eye on myself, my family, relatives, and ancestors. And then we would make a mental list of things that would come into our mind that we wanted to work with. And then when you would go blank, you had to start all over again. 200,100,000 pillar of a piece of pie on myself, my family, relatives, and ancestors, and make another list. And that was 24 hours a day. So suddenly imagine when Ihaliakala got the very first tool that he gets that is easy, that it was Dewdrop. And we were all like, what? He said only we have to say Dewdrop? We couldn't believe it. After repeating all that. And the same thing that we stopped making lists because we realized God already knew all our problems. We didn't have to write or think of any list or any problems. We just needed to let go, to find ways to be connected, to be in balance, to allow God to transmute. So the Hooponopono is being changing. A lot of people continue, and I always say, if you have the 4 phrases already, incorporated, they are natural in you, you should doing it because it works.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that will bring you back to present, that it will make you not to think, not to worry, it will help. Everything that will allow you to let go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you one of my experiences with it. Listeners might be interested. So, from 2001 to 2010, I taught as an adjunct professor at one of the for-profit schools here after I had gotten my master's degree in computer science with them. And I'd been teaching with them 5 or 6 years. And suddenly they brought in a new guy who's going to be like the faculty head. And he was, frankly, just a goofball. I could tell that I was going to chafe with him. Other people were going to chafe with him. It was just oil and water. And we were forced on our own nickel, being adjunct professors, to go to these things where they'd give us a cheap fried chicken dinner, and then we have to sit there for 3 hours and listen to the standards that this guy wanted to propose. And I'd already been through one of these with him, and I thought, oh, no, I have to go to another one. And that afternoon, before I went, I just started going through the 4 phrases, and I was sitting at a restaurant just cooling my heels before I had to go to the school, and just going through them and focusing on this guy and going through them. And I get to the class, and he shows up about 10 or 15 minutes late, and he apologizes, and he said, well, folks, this is probably going to be pretty short because I just found out this morning that they're promoting me to be campus chair for the Kansas City campus, and I have to pack my car tomorrow morning and drive to Kansas City, and so somebody else is going to be taking this over, so good luck. And he was gone.
Wow. That was perfect. Yeah, you know what I tell people, David? You cannot do it with expectation because you don't know what is right. But things like this happen. And many other things, I can tell you a lot of stories. But the thing is, you cannot do it with expectations because, again, you don't know what is right, yes? But things like this could happen, that suddenly something gets resolved in ways you couldn't have done it, you couldn't have planned it, you couldn't have thought of, of things, of the solution. So it's wonderful.
Well, you talk in your book is State of Zero. Tell us more about what State of Zero is.
Yeah, so for me, for me, it would be very, very important that we all do what we love, that we trust ourselves, yes, that we listen more to our hearts than our minds. So, for example, when you do what you love, you are at zero, okay? Definitely you are happy, you have all the resources, etc. So it's very important that we realize that we are not our thoughts, that we are not our beliefs, that we are not the problems, so that we don't identify, we don't buy those things, yes? So that you can put some distance somehow, that you can become the observer, that is your real identity, yes? The observer, the part of you that came to live the experiences. So zero frequency is being the observer. Zero frequency is the idea of that you can be at peace no matter what is going on around you. And like I said before, when I realized I was the responsible, you know what I told myself? I said, wait a minute, if I'm responsible, that means I created it. Oh, that means I can change it. Yes, because otherwise, blaming, complaining, and all that stuff doesn't work. When you start working on yourself, when you change, everything changes. So zero frequency allows you to observe and not to engage as much, not to react as much. Things that you can do that, again, that will bring you to present. Zero frequency is about to be present, being balanced, connected with divinity the way you understand it. I started believing in God when things like you mentioned happened to me in my life because I let go and trust, and things got resolved in ways that I couldn't, imagine or plan. And so for me, God is a part of me. God is that part of me that created me, that knows me better than anybody else, that can resolve all my problems. So how could you be in that connection? It's like people that meditate, yes? So the idea of zero frequency is how you can be in that meditative, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but state all the time. Yes, where you can observe thoughts, where you can observe problems, but you don't identify with them, and you know you are not that. Yes. So again, kind of being at peace no matter what. And zero frequency is like the river. You allow the river to take you. There will be rocks, but you go around them. In life, we want the rock to move. We discuss with the rock. And things like that. We have to go around. We have to again let go of being right to have the last word. We have to choose to be happy. Happiness is a choice. And you decide, what makes you happy or what doesn't make you happy. And again, when you realize it's all up to you, is what I call the easiest way. My previous books are called The Easiest Way. Because I always say that I found it.
Wonderful.
It's not that it's easy to practice, but when you practice, there is not easier than this.
Well, this reminds me of, sort of overlaps with other systems like Course in Miracles, where, there's no ranking of difficulty of miracles. And, I use some of that to talk to people, and also the idea that there's only love and everything else. And, those two principles fit in very nicely with this. And as you talk to people about manifesting their lives, you're talking to them about how do they create an expectation without essentially defining the solution. How do you let go and let God, so to speak? So, yes, I'm in financial trouble, and I sure could use a lot of money. Well, some people focus on, oh, man, the only way I'm going to get ahead is if I go buy a lottery ticket and suddenly I win big. And it's like, no, there's 500 different ways that money could show up to help you. And if you try to box it in and say, it's only through a lottery ticket, that's the only way I can see, then you may have a hard life versus somebody who says, I need $500 by this weekend. It's a very defined amount. It's a reasonable amount, and I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to see what shows up. And they're open to how it shows up. They could find an envelope of cash. They could have a relative suddenly call up and just say, I thought you might be able to use $500 for something. Who knows? And get rid of that expectation of how it manifests.
Yeah, I totally believe in that. I always tell people, you have to trust. It's going to come when you need it. You never know where it's coming from. But if you are close-minded, once I read that wanting to win the lottery is poverty consciousness, because somehow you feel you cannot make it, you cannot do it, that's the only way you can resolve your problem. No, you can. The thing is you have to trust. The trusting part is very important. So Hooponopono is about, tools to let go, yes, but you have to trust. You have to know you are not alone. You have to know that every time you let go, there is a part of you that will take care of the problem. Yeah, and it's the part of you that really knows and has the solution to your problems.
How do you see any difference other than maybe terminology on the state of zero versus synchronicity happening?
I think when you are at zero, what I call, the zero frequency, I think that everything starts coming. It's incredible. For example, I'm going to give you a couple of examples.
Sure.
First of all, this is, I don't have a title to do. Yes, what I do. When I realized that I was formally going to be a teacher, I told Dr. Ihaliakala, I said, I'm going to go and take classes, I don't know anything about public speaking. And he said, no, all you have to be is yourself. That will take all your naturality, And that was the best advice I ever got in this lifetime. All I need is to be myself. That's why it doesn't matter how many people are there in the audience, because I just know I have to be myself. That's easy. Yes, so I'm not looking for acceptance. I'm not looking for approval. I'm just offering myself from my heart. This is what I have to offer. Yes, you take it or leave it, So that helped me a lot. Yes, because most of the time we are trying to be somebody that we are not, or pleasing others, yes, or looking for approval outside of ourselves. I was leaving my career as an accountant slowly but surely because of time. Yes, I couldn't, do everything because this started taking, more time and effort and etc. In November of 2008, I decided to let go of my career completely. Yes, so I didn't have any more secure income, coming. Well, let's go back. Because of Hooponopono, I started my own practice. What it was totally ridiculous because I was going through a divorce. I had to really take care of myself, like myself. And suddenly I decided to start my own practice. The clients used to call me. At that time there was not emails, The clients started calling me that somebody gave them my name and number, and they told them I could help them because they were going to be audited by the IRS here, and they needed somebody to represent them. I cannot tell you, David, by practicing this, the results that I got for my clients, I couldn't even believe it. These auditors believe anything I told them. It's not like I lied. But to give you an example, there was one that I had to represent that he didn't have any receipts for their deductions. And I told the auditor, I said, look, for that kind of income, he had to have expenses. And if you look at the expenses, are reasonable. And the lady thought for a minute or less, and she said, yeah, they are reasonable. I mean, those kind of things that you cannot believe. There was one that I was representing. It wasn't actually my client. It was the CPA client. They realized that I was very good with audits, so they would give me their clients. I wasn't working for them anymore, but they would ask me, to represent their client. And there was one that actually looked like fraud. Yes, because she made a lot of money in real estate. She didn't pay anything on taxes, and and the partner says to the client, he says, we know you will have to pay fraud penalties, and those are very high. He says, but that depends on the relationship that Mabel creates with the auditor. David, the Mabel before, I wouldn't have slept, all night thinking, because that depended on me. I have to do a good job. When I heard that, I really smiled this time, and I said, oh, depends on me. All right. And you know what, it made a difference, that I would go to this audit and we call it cleaning in Hooponopono. I would just repeat, thank you, I love you, whatever came, into my mind, and keep my mouth shut. So, by the end, this lady, this auditor wasn't the easiest one, but we met for the second time, and she was a completely different person. At the end, she shows me the adjustment that she wants to do to the tax return. The first thing I go is to look at the penalties box. Yes, how much penalties, and it says 0, no penalties. So that's not because I was a good accountant. That was because I allowed God. You understand what I mean? I would come to the audit with God and say, God, you go first. You speak. And this thing really, really worked. So November 2008, I let go of my practice. And in 2009, I was counting with some income, and I had already a lot of employees. So I needed, to create a certain amount of money. But an income that I had disappeared. And yeah, first I was like, sure, I felt fear. Sure, I felt anxiety. I said, how am I going to, have all these employees all by myself, a new career? And immediately I had another thought. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I said, because my logical mind said, you will have to go back to preparing taxes, and that was logical, and that makes sense, yes? But I had another thought, and I thought, well, God knows why I'm here. He knows how much I need and when. I said, I'm not going to worry. And every time that the fear would come, the anxiety, I would start thinking or something, I would go look up and say, I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry, like a little child. Since November of 2008, I never stopped traveling. Every year, it was 8-9 months of the year traveling with, speaking engagements. I am a self-published author. I sold the rights of my books to almost 20 languages, and everything comes by email. It's just an invitation by email. We want the copyright of your book by email. Nothing that I could plan. Nothing that I could visualize. I don't know where these people are coming from. So that's what happened. That's what happened when you're at zero frequency. That means you are not worrying. You are trusting. You are letting go also, of whatever depression or whatever emotions. Because, people, when you tell people about emotions, no, you have to feel. And I say, well, if that works, if you see results, go and feel your emotions. But we have to realize we are not our emotions. That's we are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions, and that takes you off zero frequency. And when you are engaging with your emotions, you are not in synchronicity. You are not in the frequency. You are not letting go, and miracles usually don't happen. So you have to allow for the miracles to happen in your life. You have to give permission.
Great.
You have to get out of your own way. We are our worst obstacle in our own way.
Well, something else I wanted to talk to you about was the different levels of consciousness, because you talk about superconscious, your waking consciousness, and your subconscious, and you talk about the interplay on those. Could you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. So basically, life is happening in our subconscious mind. It's like we have a projector, yes? So everything that we see, like you see in the monitor of your computer, so if it's not, downloaded in you, it will not show up in the monitor. So basically, everything that we call a problem, a difficult person, whatever situation, is just something on the monitor. So what is showing you is the program accumulated in your subconscious mind. And that's where life really is happening. So all these memories could come from past lives, could come from ancestors, and the reason why we came and we chose to come, it was to repair, to make amends, to repair, to correct. The word Hooponopono means how to correct an error. So we are here to correct errors, so that's why everything that comes into our life that we call problems are perfect, because there are opportunities, to correct. Now, in Hooponopono, we say the subconscious mind is our inner child, yes? So, and that we say that the conscious mind is like the mother, yes? So it's always this relationship between the mother and child, yes? The intellect and also the emotions, because we say the inner child, that is our subconscious mind, handles all our physical and our emotional. So, and then we all have, so something important about the mother or the conscious mind, the intellect, is the part of us that has the free choice. Yes? the way we got confused, we had to get titles. You know, the more titles you have, the better you are. You know, or more important. But more education, more ignorance. Okay, somehow. But anyway, the intellect is a very important part of us because it's the one that chooses all the time. Do I react or not? Do I let go or not? Do I trust or not? Etc. Etc. And we all have the superconscious mind that we were created perfect. Like I said before, we are not our memories. Yes. So this is a part of us that is always connected to the cosmos, to the universe, to God, to the source, whatever you want to call it. And it never interferes with this relationship between the conscious and the subconscious because it knows it's part of the learning, yes? It's part of why we came here. The same, like I said before, we have to ask for help. The help otherwise cannot come. You have to allow it. So because of our free choice, like God doesn't invade our privacy. Yeah, we have to give permission. So Hooponopono is a way of asking for help, is a way of allowing the help to come.
Okay. That helps a lot. Now, let's jump to another area that you talk about quite a bit is forgiveness. I'm very keen on forgiveness. I teach a lot of people how to do forgiveness and that it frees them from connections to others where the others don't even remember it. You know, it's pulling them down.
Exactly. You know, that was a big one for me. Like, big things that I realize is whatever I think of myself is important or what other people think. That's also set me free, big time. And the forgiveness was another one. When I realized that if I didn't forgive, I was hurting myself. So I always tell people, you have to get to a point in your life that you said, I'm not going to hurt myself anymore. And in Hooponopono, the part of the forgiveness is totally an inner work. We are not talking about calling anybody, writing any letters. I mean, you can if you want, but the idea is you work on yourself. You work on your reaction. We always say the problem is not the problem. It's our reaction to the problem that is the problem. So we work on our reaction. And like I said before, 100% responsibility will set you free. It's not about waiting for something or somebody, to change outside of yourself. Not long ago, I heard something that I thought it was amazing. It says, when you don't forgive, it's like you are taking poison every day, waiting for the other one to die. So how many people are drinking poison every day, for years and years, 2 years already, and he didn't die. Yes? So, again, you have to love yourself enough that it says, I'm not going to hurt myself anymore. And you let go, and you work on it. But, when you take 100% responsibility also, it's easier because you realize that there is something there is a blessing behind. And it's important, and you attracted it for some reason that you might not know, you might never know, you might not understand, but there was a gift there. And so again, it's about forgiving ourselves, for whatever we allow to, and forgiving others only because we love ourselves and we don't want to hurt ourselves anymore. But for me, that was a big one, very big one. It says, I'm not going to go there anymore.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we have a caller that I'd like to bring on. Her name is Deanna, and I think she has some questions for you. So just a moment.
Wonderful.
Hi. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
Hola.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Hola, Mabel. ¿Cómo te va?
Hola. ¿Te conozco?
No. I'm also from Argentina, and
you sound like it.
Yeah, and I'm always in this vein, in this frequency that I tune into. Back in 2005, I think, we used to have a program here on cable that was on the Infinito channel owned by Ted Turner.
Yes.
And they had 4 spaces: water, fire, earth, and air. And on the last one, there was a guy from Mexico who talked about Hooponopono. So I was really into it, and then I read the Joe Vitale. But what you said tonight is something I didn't know, what it meant to clean it off, and that there was more to it. And I was wondering if you teach that, the rest of it, not just the I'm sorry, thank you, I love you, forgive me, but the other things, the 1,000, 1 million, and all that.
Well, we don't do. Yeah, we don't do that anymore. The 200 million, 100,000. But we do connection with the inner child, for example, because that's the part of us that really is the one that has to let go, our emotional part. And we do the connection. It's the one that is helping us always to do. It's a very important part of us. Very important part of us, yes, in the Hooponopono process, yes. So I ask permission to the Foundation of I Inc. that was Morna's foundation, for the parts that I practice of Hooponopono. The parts that I share with people are the things that I do, that I see results. And we have a lot of tools. Dr. Ihaliakala, by the time, I was with him. He brought so many tools. One day I said, why so many tools? Why not just the thank you and the I love you? And he said, different tastes. We have tools for all tastes. So it's not like you have to practice them all. You don't have to practice them all, but we have for all tastes.
Whatever resonates with you.
Which one that resonates?
Whatever resonates with you.
Exactly. Exactly. I always tell people, a lot of the people that follow me, they use a lot of I let go and trust, because I tell them that, for example, when I have situations that, fear, or, that you don't know where to run, I will go, I let go and trust, 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 and things get resolved somehow, or things stop, bothering or whatever. The other thing is, like when I mentioned to you about my experience with money, a lot of my people also use, I'm not going to worry. And it works. So whatever resonates in that moment, that helps you to let go. I always tell people the worst thing we can do when we have a problem is worry or think about it. So you have to relax, you have to let go, you have to breathe, and things somehow is like you are moving energy, yes, and you are allowing for things to come to you.
I know you're coming to Miami soon. I'm up in near Miami. I don't know that I can come to see you, but I'm going to try to manifest it. I also wanted to tell you something, but this is in Spanish, and it's really short, Dave. In Spanish, reason is razón.
Okay.
And heart is corazón.
No te entendí lo último.
Razón y corazón. Like the co.
Con razón. Cuando decimos con razón.
Corazón. El corazón. The heart.
Okay. Corazón. Okay.
It's like a co-worker. Corazón. It's the sibling of reason is co-reason. Corazón.
Got it. Gracias. Yeah, I got it. Nice.
Well, I'm always in that weird frequency, and I think it's a matter of electrically. Our physical body electrically connecting to a frequency. Yes. Where it just goes smoothly, and most of us don't know how to do it, including myself.
Exactly. Well, and we Argentinians, Dave, you have to know that we are very intellectual people. So for us to go down to for us to trust the heart is major. Okay, what? We are not going to think? Oh, we are not going to criticize? We are not going to judge? We are the best of the best, and we know. So let me do it. Let me think about it. So
we are very...
So we are overly thinkers, yes? So, and right now it is very important with everything we are going through and everything to trust, and especially to trust our hearts and let go of la razón, to be right, to have the last word and everything.
Use the co-worker, the corazón, instead.
The corazón, eso. Yes. Well, Hard Math Institute had made amazing revelations about, how the brain is really in the heart. And the heart knows things even before they happen. And the heart also is the one giving the directions to the brain.
I know that Edgar Mitchell, who was the astronaut that recently died, who was actually born in Roswell, was one of the people involved in the Heart Math Institute. So I have a lot of respect for that. One last thing. When I write you back on your Facebook, I put down Katzita, because my last name is the same. At least half of my last name is the same as yours. So if I write you, I say Katzita, because, Katzi.
Okay.
So I wanted to say hello, and I listened to you. I think Monday last week you were on with Suzanne, but it was such a short interview. But nonetheless, I'm glad Dave has you on, because Dave is the best of the best. This is an aerospace engineer who is into mysticism. So
he told me.
I've listened to him for about 450 programs this far.
Good for you.
It's like going to school.
Good for you. That's wonderful.
Muchísimas gracias. Muchas gracias, Mabel.
Mucho gusto. Gracias, mucho gusto.
Thanks, Dave, and I wish you a wonderful year. Your birthday was yesterday, so God bless.
Yep. Thank you.
Beautiful.
You take care. Thank you for listening. And good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So we put some Latin, Spanish flavor.
Absolutely. She's a faithful listener. She's here about every week, and
beautiful.
So, it's fun talking to her. A chapter in your book that catches my eye. So I'm just putting this out there that if any of the listeners could let me know, somebody who's a friend sent me some Young Living oil, and it was gratitude. And the box came, but it doesn't have who ordered it. And so I would certainly like to thank somebody for sending me gratitude, and I don't know who it is. But that made me notice your chapter in your book on practice gratitude. So
yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's a very important thing for people.
Yes, definitely. In Hooponopono, you don't need to feel grateful. I mean, you do the thank you is like a passcode, so that God knows you are letting go and allowing. But as you know, we are energy, yes? You know more than me about that. So the thing is, when you are grateful, you elevate your frequency, yes? You're in the positive. And we attract based on that. That's something very important that we need to realize also, that we are creating our reality, because it depends on your thoughts, depends on your feelings and things like that. So when you feel grateful, I tell people, and again, this is not Hooponopono, but I tell people, when you have a problem, you have to think all the things you can be grateful for, either because of that situation that presented to you, or just because whatever in your life you can be grateful, because immediately you change your frequency. Immediately you go into the positive, and then you have more possibilities of attracting better things, yes, or what you want in your life. So that's a little bit of the idea. So definitely I encourage people always, to think about all the things, even mentally, of all the things they can be grateful for, because it changes your energy, and that's what's all about. So yeah, definitely I talk about practice peace and practice abundance and practice gratitude. I have to tell you, this was a book that I was trying to write for 10 years, because I've been doing zero frequency trainings for 10 years. And I always had obstacles, to write it or to find the right editor, a lot of things. I have a lot of stories. And the last editor finished the manuscript. She was going to take 2 months. It took 1 year. And the book was ready July of 2019. But it was not published till July of 2020. And now that I'm recording the book, because I'm doing the audiobook, I cannot even believe the things that I put in the book. And I realized that was a book for the pandemic. It wasn't a book for 2019, not 2018. It wasn't. And I was there fighting, How come, the universe is conspiring against, this book? How come? Yeah? But this book is exactly for these times. And, for example, I even mentioned the word pandemic in the book. And I talk about a pandemic of peace and love and how that can heal. So I talk about healing. I talk about changing humanity. I talk about homeschooling. I mean, I couldn't believe it myself, because I wrote this book a long, long time ago. So it is about practicing everything that we are not practicing usually. But I think this is the right time, yes, to do it. This is the right time to change. This is about the right time to open your mind, to start thinking differently, and to being open to all the possibilities.
Absolutely.
Because, this world will never be the same.
Well, there's so many people who they just view 2020 as a lost year, not as a year of opportunities. They aren't looking for how they can learn, how they can grow, how they can profit from this. And I'm not just talking about material things. I think there's a lot of financial opportunities there to make a profit from helping other people feel better about this, but also looking at the angst and the protests out there, and the Black Lives Matter issue, and how they're going to process all of that. Lots of opportunities to practice these principles. Yes,
definitely. This is the time really to stay home and connect with yourself. Find out who you really are. And do your inner work. This is the time. Sometimes I feel that all my traveling, before all these years, I was kind of sewing, somehow for these times. It was like a preparation for these times that nobody could imagine, yes? I always tell people, because I listen sometimes to the videos, from trainings and everything. Look, big things are going to come. We have to prepare and everything. But, intellectually, I didn't even know what I was talking about. Never imagined.
Absolutely.
I always say things are going to happen, but I never thought. Intellectually, really, I didn't know what I was talking about.
Well, yeah. Well, tell us how you're available to help people who want to learn more about this. Do you work one-on-one with people now, or do you teach seminars? How can they get a hold of you and find out more how to make that contact?
Thank you. I do have, I offer consultations only because some people just insist, but that's not in my heart. I like to work with crowds, big crowds. For me, my thing is really the seminars. I just had a couple of miracles happened to me. talking about being at zero frequency. One is we were able to go, as we go with my children and my nephews, to Mexico on vacation. You know, we had this plan because we always go for my birthday every year. But this year we weren't sure if we were going to be able to do it, and we were able to do it, and we couldn't believe it. You know, it was like a miracle, yes, to be on vacation in Mexico in the middle of everything that we are going through. The other miracle is that Mexico allowed me to do a training for more than 230 people. So I just came back from Mexico from doing that, and now we are going to do Miami. But, you know, they are smaller. I'm going to do 2 weekends because they only allow us 70 people in the room.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been doing some online trainings that I've been offering. I'm offering actually a Finding Your Purpose webinar. It's a 4-part webinar that the last class is a bonus class, actually, this coming Sunday. So I try to connect, to help people to connect, to find to have the tools and also to find their own thing, because, you know, everything is inside of us. So it's only helping them to find it, yes, or connecting. And then, so right now I don't know what is, you know, I never planned, and now even less, yes, because you don't even know what is going to happen tomorrow. So that's a little bit of what's happening. I always do lives, Facebook and Instagram. In Instagram, it's Mabel Katz, my name, and in Facebook is Mabel Katz fan page. So I'm always, again, supporting people, you know, with my lives, with my videos, with content, yes, to empower people. The thing is this, the common denominator, I feel, David, my mission is to wake up people. It's not to convince them to do Hooponopono. It's to do something, you know, like Diana was saying, you know, to what resonates with you. Yes, just do what resonates with you. But could be Hooponopono, could be something else, but just do something. Wake up, yes. So for me, that's my mission, yes. Yeah, for me, is to wake up people. And the most important is that the common denominator when I do my events, when I'm signing books or whatever, is that people says, you changed my life. You know, and that's the fuel. That's fuel for me, yes, to keep going. Because sometimes you said, it doesn't make sense what I'm doing. You know, or I talk about weird things, you know. But when people say you changed my life, that's what keeps me going. Well, by the way, my new book, Zero Frequency, and you can go to zerofrequency.com /book, and when you buy it in Amazon, you come back to this page, zerofrequency.com /book. And you get $100 in digital bonuses. One is my very, very first zero frequency training. Hija Liakala also came and presented with me. That was in Marina del Rey here in Los Angeles, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And so that is on audio. And then a wonderful training we did in Los Angeles with Don Miguel Ruiz and Dizzy Cordova, Gary Quinn, Gabriel Nosovich, and that is on video. And so you get that for free. So you help me. Wonderful. I actually made it to #1 best-selling on Amazon, but we want to keep showing Amazon that, you know, that people like this stuff too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.